video, so I think it's more engaging if you can actually see who's talking to you. So yeah, hang on a minute. And before I share my slides, I've been given an hour. I don't know if I'm going to go through the full hour just talking, but rather I would like this webinar to be more interactive. Hence, I mean, the term seminar is what it should be anyways, right? So feel free to ask questions or pass comments if you wish. I'll try to attend to them immediately or at the very least at the end of the session. And we'll try to keep the tone as casual as possible. So, so you don't need to be so formal about things. Yeah. Okay. Faisal, I hope that's okay with you. Yeah.
Yes. Please proceed. Thanks.
Okay. So let's share this. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Can.
So it should go through full screen right now, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So hang on a minute. Yeah. So obviously, I'm gonna be speaking from my perspective as a designer for the car company, and specifically my team, which is known as Proton Design. So let me probably start off by giving a background, if you can call it that, about where I'm coming from. Yeah. Proton Design has been in the organization since the very beginning of the inception of Proton. So that means we're effectively over 35 years old, the design team. However, I have been with the company for 23 odd years, more than half of the time in my current position. Yeah. I have progressed as a junior designer all the way to where I am today. I manage a team, which I'll actually share with you shortly. I hope it'll appear though. And today, basically, I've been asked to share what my thoughts are about transformation through design. Now, I know that the focus should be engineering centric. I think most, if not all, of you listening in right now are engineers or will be engineers and even maybe practicing engineers. So I'll try my best to look at it and share with you how important design is in transforming your work or your thoughts in making great products, great solutions in life. So a lot of it will be related to vehicle design, car design, because that's my forte. But I'll try to be as broad as possible. And if you have any particular angle that you like me to touch on, please just interrupt me if you want to. Yeah, I have quite a broad set of experiences, not just car design, because I participate in academic contributions throughout Malaysia as well. I've done talks also on design, general design, worldwide. So I think I should be able to at least give some thoughts on the way of thinking of how industrial design or product design will be able to transform your current practice. Okay. So let's just put a dot on that point. Let me start. I hope you can hear. Faisal, can you hear? Proton Design is the select group of men and women within Proton who delves into the aesthetics of all our products, who energizes the DNA, creates the way, conceptualize all the products that we plan from now going forward. Proton Design is made out of 6 groups: advanced design, then we have digital design, design and cast, color design, and finally model design. The members of Proton Design come from very varied background. We have fashion designers, industrial designers, graphic designers, even engineers, mechanical engineers, and at one point we had aeronautical engineer in our team. So this plethora of disciplines actually help us understand what we're doing in a much more in-depth manner. So it's not just aesthetics for aesthetics. It's not just beauty, skin deep, but it is a very structured, well-informed discipline. All of the teams are managed by studio management, who oversees all the infrastructure and manpower requirements for the group. So, Faisal, could you hear the audio from the video?
Yes, yes, can.
Okay, very good, very good. I hope it was smooth enough for you to understand, for everyone to understand. So that short video, I think, would have given you a feel of the team and the perspective that I'm coming from, my point of view. But let's talk about designs. Yeah? Let me start by giving examples from various industries first. And I think you can relate to them because they're very common things. So products and brands grow over time. All of us are familiar with the brand Apple, right? And I'm sure a lot of us are using Apple products, whether it's the computers or the phones and what have you. Yeah, but the growth of Apple wasn't just the operating system or the hard value that it gave. Now I'm going to touch on this little pizza box that you see on the screen. That's a Power Mac. I have one actually at home, and it is from many years ago, during what I call a dark time within Apple. This is when it was trying to reinvent itself, yeah, but by being like IBM, by being like any other computer brand. This is the time when Steve Jobs was out of the organization. They didn't do very well. Then, when Steve Jobs came back into the organization, the iMac came to birth, yeah, and it was unlike anything else that people had ever seen. Those of you who remember this computer probably was quite amazed by the amount of colors that was offered. So instead of a gray pizza box that you have on your left, on the left there, you had the ability to choose the color of your computer to bring home and use at home. It was an all-in-one, and the user experience that you get from it is unlike any other. Yeah, and from there, over the years, Apple has progressed even further, and they looked at not just being a computer company, hence why they took out the term Apple Computer and just became Apple a few years back, and they looked into lifestyle. So design has actually powered their very business model over the years to create things that no one has ever imagined, which are not just usable, but also beautiful. So very well engineered, but at the same time aesthetically pleasing. Okay, next is a Dyson vacuum cleaner. This is one of the original ones back in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And Dyson was an innovator. He's an engineer by profession. So I think all of you have heard the story that how he went through thousands of prototypes, yeah, and went through numerous engineering solutions before he came into the idea of the wheelbarrow, and that later on became the bagless vacuum cleaner concept. But if you look at his vacuum cleaners, or hoovers as they're called in Britain, they don't look like the normal vacuum cleaners. Now, design has contributed tremendously to Dyson, and not just making their amazing technology better, but definitely more appealing. And beyond that, just like Apple, Dyson reinvented itself. It looked into the things that people want or use on a daily basis, but use the same technology, the same level of high precision engineering to make itself a household name. So from fans to hair dryers, they've gone into every facet of our homes. And let's not forget cars. Kia, as we know, is a Korean brand. It's been with us for a very long time, but they've never really sold very well from the very beginning. There were issues on poor engines, and if you look at a car that you see right in front of you, isn't exactly beautiful, if you can call it that. But then again, they knew they had to transform. To be relevant, they took in Peter Schreier, which is a German designer, and they made products that was very design inclined. So you probably had the same bits of engineering as you ever had before, but now your products are more beautiful. They speak of emotion. And it can just be by changing the wheel sizes or giving more options for colors. And definitely having cars that no one has ever dreamed of, like the car you see on the right. So design plays a very big role in resurging, reinventing Kia over the years. And they're still doing it. The most recent car was the Kia Carnival, which had a virtual launch event. You can see it on YouTube. And it shows how they're trying to change the way people perceive cars. Not just by talking about the specifications or the engines or the engineering, but how it fits into your lifestyle as a user. Another good example is obviously Mercedes-Benz. Now, if I say to you that Mercedes-Benz is an extremely sporting company or very appealing in terms of youthfulness, I don't think you would agree with me. Instead, you would probably think that Mercedes-Benz is more of an old man's car. Yeah, especially if you're my age. I'm not exactly young, but yeah, there you go. But then again, they saw, just like Kia, how good design, exciting design, can transform and change the brand of the company. So the perception can be changed, and you can penetrate more segments of the consumers, and in the end, create more revenue for the company. So Mercedes-Benz went from boring, straight German reliability, Germanic tones, to something that is very lifestyle oriented and something that people want to have. Very emotional brand. So brands can transform through design. The examples of Apple, Dyson, Kia, Mercedes-Benz illustrates how we can use aesthetics, great design, to enhance the offerings which are engineered into products and brands. Now, if you've gone through that transformation, you must have a strategy to move forwards. This is part 2 of my webinar. The total sections, there's 4. So this is part 2. So you've seen how the first part puts together, and now you must have strategies to be able to transform yourself. Allow me to share with you the importance of having great people in your team. The photos that you're looking at, this compilation, they're all my designers of varying backgrounds. There's about 60 of us, and I can assure you they're not all industrial designers. We've got all sorts of backgrounds. We even have engineers in here who help with the intermediary work before we go to engineering for consultation and such. Yeah. So very, very diverse group of people which contribute to all sorts of ideas throughout the journey. So people, diversity adds to the strategy of being able to go global in your design. Next is when you have the people, you need the right tools. Without the tools, those right people will not be able to perform. I think that's very simple logic, but a lot of people forget that. Yeah. So talent need to be put in the right place with the right tools. So whether it's digital or otherwise, it doesn't really matter. But in the case of, I think, going forwards, a lot of industries are looking at digitalization as a way of reducing costs, complexity, and increasing efficiency. And what you see down on your screen is the fact that we don't really do physical sketching anymore. Almost all of our work is done digitally. So equipments that fall under tools are like 3D printers, laser scanners, and even power walls. Like you see on the right there, it's a huge wall that we use to communicate with our stakeholders in large scale. It allows us to visualize design in a normal ratio or scale again. The laser scanner allows us to do reverse engineering very, very quickly on almost anything. In case you're wondering, that's one of 2, I think, or is it the only scanner in the country that can capture textures straight out of anything. And of course, 3D printing. I mean, that's the part of Industrial Revolution 4.0, isn't it? How can you not do without 3D printing? So we have quite a number of machines here, and we found out that it helps to motivate the people to come up with designs very, very quickly, even if it's just to validate. Yeah? To have it right next to the designers is a very enlightening experience. Yeah? So you have the people and you have the right tools, and that's key, but you need to put them in the right environment too. Here's a snapshot of our studio here in Proton. As you can see, it's not normal. You have engineering right across there, and I can assure you it doesn't look anything like engineering. But being in the right environment, doesn't matter what your profession is, whether you're in fashion design, whether you're in engineering, mechanical, civil, what have you, but you have to be in the right environment to motivate, to be inspired. So we've gone to great lengths to offer a space that the designers can work effectively, efficiently, in a way that they want, in a way that it will increase their commitment to the job at hand. Now, if you look at the images before you, again, those are images from the studio. Everything from the furniture to the lighting system has a meaning. Yeah, if you look at the lights all around, they actually have different values in them. They've been identified to contribute to the staff's ability to work. For example, pure white for the color team, slight warmth for the studios, and deep warmth for management. So the environment plays a very important role in making sure the right people with the right tools to do their job. And the final part of the puzzle, I feel in today's day and age, is wellness and well-being. Okay, what do I mean by wellness and well-being? Wellness and well-being is not just your mind, but it is also your physical wellness, yeah, situation. We found out over the years that for a team to work, because you can't work alone, obviously, right? For a team to work together well, you have to give them the right tools, put them in the right environment, and you have to make sure that they are always healthy enough, in the right state of mind to be able to contribute. So we invest a lot, yeah? And I think a lot of organizations out there also do the same thing. They invest in the wellness and well-being of their staff. They organize events. They place importance of medical checkups, for example. They spend and give benefits that will attract talents who, in today's day and age, appreciate an employer or a boss that actually puts focus on wellness and well-being. This new way of working appeals to the millennials, appeals to the new generation who want flexibility of work and work-life balance and all that. So by investing in wellness and well-being, you can push your environment into a totally different sector. I just thought I'd share the video with you. That's my entire team. That is Proton Design. We are a crazy bunch of people who work together, not just for work, but your family. And I think you can achieve that if you focus on these strategies that you see here. Invest in the right people, have the right tools for them, put them in an environment that they're comfortable in, and make sure you put focus on wellness and well-being to unite everyone as a family together. But knowing where, having done your benchmarking and having great strategies isn't enough when you want to stay relevant. Because when you want to transform and use design as a vehicle to change, not many people can appreciate. Yeah. So what we found out over time was that you need to show results. So how do you show results? There are many ways, depending on your industry that you come from or the organization you're in. There are many ways that you can prove a point to the stakeholders that your transformation or your investment in the strategies that you just saw will be beneficial to the company. One of the things that we acknowledge is the fact that you need accreditation, whether it's from awards or whether it's from a good word from somebody prominent or whatever. Being an achiever in your particular industry will be able to be a great motivator, not just to the staff, but also to the stakeholders. Proton Design won 3 Malaysia Good Design Awards recently for the Iris, Persona, and the Zora, and we're quite proud of the fact that we can still continue to contribute to the Malaysian design industry. So it's worthwhile to actually investigate what awards that you can win, what accreditation you can get that can add meat or credibility to your organization. So we've found out also that international presence can cement this perception even more. And these are just some examples of where we've been over the years, and we are still working in making and breaking the mold and being seen more international than just Malaysia. So yeah, getting these kind of accreditations really goes a long way in acknowledging your strategies to change. Then there's this other thing about efficiencies. These are just examples of the products that Proton have realized over the years, some more successful than others. However, they all contribute to the bottom line. And we know that being efficient is quite a key buzzword, again, to support our results. Even turnover rates can show how well you as an organization, whether it's design or engineering, can benefit the entire team. And it can show that your formulas, remember that early on I was talking about strategies and stuff, all that can be quantified in numbers and showing that how a great team works, and people don't just leave, because of poor strategies, a poor boss, if you can call it that, and whatnot. So showing results is very important. You can have all the lofty dreams and strategies, but if you don't justify the expenditure of that initiative of yours, be it by having accreditation awards, boosting your efficiencies by doing things better at lower cost, for example, and by showing that your team actually works as a team, then it doesn't mean anything. You need to show results all the time. So this is the third part that I'd like to share, and I just want to share to you the fourth part. So you've done your benchmarking, you have good examples, you have strategies, you know you have to show results, yeah, you have great people, you have a great team, but you can't be just here today. You need to be relevant to stay in the game. So to do that, you have to look to the future. Design in particular, you must always look to the future. In car design, we have to design things 2 to 4 years ahead today. So all the cars or products for 2024 onwards are already on my desk. Yeah. So this ability to know the future in a way, yeah, to forecast the future and to plan for it will safeguard everything that you just seen earlier. Design needs to be able to enhance in new areas. Now you see the term PQHC there, that's perceived quality and haptic control. It's a very foreign word or term to a lot of people. You're probably more familiar with the word next to it, which is DNA, ribonucleic acid. So, but this just shows you, this is an initiative by my team. As we develop show cars, that the ones you see in front of you right now. This is the Iris active show car. And we developed this 5 years ago. Now this was like before the SUV boom, 70, and obviously before the X50 that was just previewed recently by Proton. We were already looking into this. We knew what the market wants. So, but it went deep, much deeper than that. You know, PQHC itself is a study of the 5 human senses. It is a science and it's also an art. And this kind of deep thinking, this kind of research has actually contributed to where Proton is today in a lot of ways. Yeah? And knowing also how to evolve our DNA so that the cars of today or your products of today don't look like they're done 5 years ago. In fact, they should look contemporary, at least, or futuristic to be relevant. You have to know your consumers to be able to set this tone. And as what you saw from remember the accreditation page I shared earlier? International awards go a long way to make yourself more relevant in the total industry, because you can't just expect to grow in the country. In cars, for example, there is a TIV, total industry volume, that we know year on year, and we know you reach something like a saturation point. In order to grow beyond the shores of Malaysia, you always need backing, yeah, and it's wise actually to go into achieving international presence. So getting awards and getting accreditation, even of you as an individual or for your team, and better still for the company, will go a long way. And of course, you need to expand your capabilities. Well, we saw that little 3D printer in the image much earlier in my presentation, right? And what you're seeing here is the more advanced version that can do more, that can do things faster. So, and on your right there is the clay milling machine, like the one that we have here in my studio. But this is much more updated. Yeah, it's safer, it's more modern, more automated. So whatever skills or things that you have today needs to be expanded so you can stay ahead of the curve, to transform, to reinvent yourself, be it as an individual or an organization. You need to always be ahead of the curve. I always like to quote Steve Jobs again. He says that, how can you let the customer judge your products today when they don't even know what they want to have for breakfast tomorrow? It's a very simple analogy, right? People like to do surveys and everything and send in questionnaires and such. But what you're testing actually is today. What you really need to know is tomorrow. You need to be able to forecast in order to transform and be ahead of the curve. It's similar to what the examples that you see on the screen here. You saw the interior earlier of the Iris Active, and here is the exterior view of the car. And we did this many years ago, before SUVs became so popular. So we already projected it. So in your own circle of influence, you should be able to think ahead to stay relevant. So the future is about investing in new bodies of knowledge. It's about gaining accreditation, preferably internationally. Yeah, have a strong base locally, and always expanding your capabilities going forwards so that you can always stay ahead of the curve. Yeah, invest in your future so you can transform today. Thank you very much. That basically covers what I wanted to share with you. I hope you've been able to see the flow of how you start with benchmarking. The title is about transforming on the basis of design, right? How you should always do benchmarking, invest in key things, have a strategy, and always look to the future. Thank you. Faisal, over back to you.
All right. Thank you, Azlan, for a very interesting, wonderful sharing. It's very insightful, meaningful, and I think also useful for all of us as well. So I would like to open the floor for all of you if you have any question to our chief designer here, a very experienced industry expert from Proton. So maybe you have questions, you can ask him.
Sorry, just to ask, are you seeing me or are you seeing my slides?
Just you.
Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, I see there are like 11 people in this session, in this webinar. I'm more than happy if you have any, it doesn't have to be questions. It can just be comments if you wish. Let's have some form of engagement since we're all online anyways.
Hi, sir.
Hello. Can you introduce who you are and where you're from?
I'm from Taylor's. My name is Madhivanan. I'm a student in Taylor's as well.
Okay.
So basically, like I'm more interested in design, industrial design, and everything. And currently, like I'm, getting myself familiar with SolidWorks and all this CAD system and everything. So like, can I ask, do you have like any internship opening in your place so that I can?
Yeah, really.
So that, yeah, so go deeper in my passion, like to learn more about this design, industrial designs, and everything.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we do accept interns every year now. There are certain times when we don't, especially when we have extremely high-profile projects to do. But generally, yes, we do. What you need to do is send an application to our HR department, and they will align it to whichever area you want to go. I mean, doesn't mean that you need to go to Proton Design. It can be that you want to go to engineering design or sales or marketing or whatever, and they will connect whoever is applying to the relevant teams. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So may I ask, are you a student or are you a member of staff?
I'm a student.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So can I like ask like what I mean? Let's say like I don't know how in industry, like let's say if you're if people in industry like designing for this all this like cars, like car parts and everything, how do they like design? Do they like have certain softwares, like like any software like have your preference that you use to design it, or you just like have your own software or something like that?
Yeah, we use industry standard software primarily because we need to be able to communicate with our counterparts, our vendors, our consultants from all over the world. Yeah, so we have to be able to speak the same language. We use the design team. Sorry, uses the Alias suite of software. I think that's by Autodesk now. Yeah, it used to be Alias, but now it's Autodesk. So we use Sketchbook, we use Auto Studio and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you recall, I did mention that we have engineers in the team. So the engineering team, my engineers, they use a bit of CATIA, they use a bit of Assemble in their daily work. But by and large, the design fraternity worldwide focuses on the Alias suite of programs. So if you want to know which software you want to, that will be advantageous to you when you enter the industry as a designer, I would recommend actually Alias. Now, for engineering, it's different. Engineering is usually SolidWorks, AutoCAD, CATIA, and all sorts, yeah, on the parametric technologies and stuff. Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't like limited to one software. So people use like varieties of softwares. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I came into Proton primarily because of my knowledge in digital systems. So I didn't just work with Alias. I had to know even Adobe. You guys use Illustrator, Photoshop, and all that, right? And even now, I have to know After Effects. I have to make sure I know because I'm doing movie production as well in-house, 3D modeling and everything. So Final Cut Pro, Adobe. Yeah, I have to know all that because design is not just doing one thing. Design encompasses a harmony of many things. Yeah.
I see. Okay, I see. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any more questions, comments, observations?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Umar here.
Hello.
I'm a third year mechanical engineering student in TLS as well.
Nice.
Yeah, my question is regarding the Proton X50 and X70.
You better be buying one, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to know, can you tell us how is the process? I mean, before the launch of these cars and after the launch, how Proton came about, the design, the transformation, and I believe that after the launch, Proton has been doing really well in their sales and stuff. So can you tell us something interesting about how all this happened? And yeah.
Oh, that will require a whole entire presentation on its own. But to summarize it, I think yes, you're right. We had to reinvent ourselves. We had to transform the way we do our work when we started working with the X70. Because that was our first baby where we collaborated in the marriage with Geely in China. So I mean, I had to move half of my team to Shanghai, like literally move them to Shanghai so they could work very closely with the design team, Geely Design, over in Shanghai. The head of design, Guy Burgoyne, is a good friend of mine. We sat down together and actually have a plan on how not just to complete a car, but to unite cultures together. The thing that we found out was a lot of the blockages that we encountered, right, in the day-to-day experience of designing these cars is that the conflict of culture. That was it. It wasn't about knowledge or anything else. It was purely about culture. So that was really an eye opener for all of us. So we had to change. We couldn't be behaving or expecting the way we've always worked with Malaysians. Now, when you work with people in China or anywhere else in the world, like Germans or Australians, you have to assimilate certain things. You can't go into a relationship or the marriage and expect things to go 100% the way you want it to. Okay. Now, coming back to the products that you highlighted, that was a learning curve. The X70 was a learning curve, and then after that, many more projects came along, even before X50. Yeah, X50 we only worked on it about a year plus ago. In between that, we did all the upgrades for the Persona, for the Saga, for the Exora, yeah, for the Iris, yeah. So all that was also in collaboration with our friends in Shanghai. You know, but instead of we going to Shanghai, they came to Malaysia. So again, you see how the importance of having cross-cultural understanding is so important. Because if you don't, you're going to have friction. If you have friction, you can't work. And as creatives, harmony in the workplace to generate ideas is paramount. It's very important. You saw my slides, how I put importance in people, right? With the right tools to show that strategies will work in the right environment. Yeah. So all this plays a role. So throughout the past 3 years or so now, where we've been together with Geely, I just want to state that it's not just about X70 or X50. It is more than that. It is the birth or the renewal of all our current cars. It is a knowledge enhancing experience of cross-cultural level. And I think that growth, that synergy that we have has allowed us to transform ourselves to be more global in a sense. So as a whole, by being more global, you will see that Proton will grow out of Malaysia. Its business model will become stronger because it is not a jago kampung or just thinking about local market, but it will look into our export market. You see, it's it's pretty grand when you think about things like that. I hope I've been able to address a little bit of your question, Omar.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah. You're welcome. Any further questions?
Okay, thank you, Chief. So basically, the topic for today's webinar is about transformation through design. Okay, so the focus is about design. So just want to share with all of you that this is a series, a webinar series. Okay, and our chief here is going to have some more sharing session. Okay, so it's confirmed that we're going to have a next session around this time on Friday 5 to 6 5 to 6 as well. And the next topic by our Chief Azlan here will be productivity tips for the creative industry. So if all of you are free, please join again, right, next week. And you're going to get a lot of information and insights and some tips, right, on how to be productive, which is very important for all of us. And also please share with your friends about this very interesting webinar. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for spending time, past hour, listening to what little thing I can share with all of you. As Faisal mentioned, it will be a series, maybe a total of 6. Yeah, or total. I've only informed Faisal and the team 3 at the moment, but trust me, there'll be more. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So I think it's almost 6 now. Then I think we can finish our meeting here. Yeah, Dr. Yati, I think she wants to say something.
Just want to say thank you to engineering school and also Mr. Azlan for your insightful and resourceful sharing session. Thank you so much for having him around. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. So yeah, have a nice weekend, everyone.
All right.
Right. Thank you, sir. Have a nice weekend too.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right.